be doing around the world. If you're not sure about how your kids are going to be doing them, you should definitely spot the first one. So the spot was just as you saw. So as the coach, you're going to stand in front of your kid with your hands kind of in their armpits. Then you're going to slowly help them lean forward, moving your hands to catch their back and their feet. And then the scale by itself looks like this. Good. So making sure that the kids are keeping their arms nice and close to the bar. Support jumps. So jumping over the scarves, feet together. So kids will be swinging on the bar, trying to get the beanbag onto the paddle mat. They can either do it from swinging forwards or swinging backwards. This week we're going to be doing skills out of pivot turns. So starting with just a pivot turn on the floor and then walking out of it. You can do with pointed toes or just a normal walk. Then you can graduate to harder skills. So pivot turn hops or pivot turn skipping. You can really be creative and work to your kids' abilities. If they never make it past pivot turn walk, then that's okay. Once they've had a few turns on the floor, then you can move them onto the beam. Start with walking again. And then you can try something a little bit more challenging. Really encourage them to do their pivot turn and go right to their skill without taking a long break. Cartwheels over a small box, starting with one foot on the frog, and then having their other foot land on the frog. Really encouraging your kids to jump high, jump and lift their legs high. So building on backwards rolls. If your kids are still needing a lot of spot or are struggling with keeping their hands down to use them, you can try this drill where they start laying on the box and then lifting their hips up, pushing onto their hands to touch their toes onto the second mat. If they can do that, no problem, or if they don't require a lot of spot, then they can just practice doing a backwards roll off the box. This just encourages them to really lift instead of just rolling down. So spider walks this week. Kids should be reaching their feet up, holding their stomach and their bum really tight, and walking towards the mat as much as they can, keeping their body against it. A lot of kids like to get a little bit floppy in this one, so don't let your kids go higher than they can strongly hold their bodies. So if they start to go up and they're looking a little bit floppy, then that's too high for them. You can always go back to a pike handstand if you need to work on their body shapes. And keeping their stomach in, pushing their backs out. Full turns on the tramp. Encouraging your kids to keep their arms up by their ears. And making sure they're squeezed. Don't let them get out of control. Really encourage them to do one jump at a time and land in a motorcycle after. Vault, running to the beat board, jumping on the box. Make sure your kids land in motorcycle. Then they can do a shape jump off. It can be your choice or theirs, up to you. Making sure they still land in that nice motorcycle. Working on proper run, you can do some high knees, or you can even do bum kicks if you want. For the run, arms are also important, so having them work their arms, go back and forth, trying to lift themselves up. It's really important to maintain a strong body for this exercise. You can also just have your kids run in a line, or else you can have them race.